Welcome back to Head Start. Now, Energy Secretary Alfonso Cusi and representatives from the International Atomic Agency will be visiting the Bataan nuclear power plant today. Cusi has said he is in favor of reviving the power plant, even if it is expensive. But earlier this week, Senator Sherwin Gatchalian came out with a statement actually warning, giving out a warning on reviving the Bataan nuclear power plant, citing safety and cost efficiency. And joining us now is former Pangasinan Representative Mark Coangco, a fierce advocate of nuclear power.
Hi.
Mark, thank you for coming to the show. Can we still use the Bataan nuclear power plant?
Definitely.
What makes you say that?
If you go to the United States, in Tennessee, a nuclear plant much older than BNPP and much less complete, they decided to run it a few years ago. The other night it hit 100% capacity.
Wow.
And in a week from now, it will be commercially online.
Okay.
And so that's a good benchmark.
Okay.
Our plant is much better than that one, more modern. And our plant is 100% complete.
What makes you so sure, I mean, just for the audience, that when you say, yes, we can use the BNPP, yes, it's more complete, that your statements would be credible? I mean, I'm curious, did you study it? Did you bring experts? You know what I mean?
I've firstly had a general interest in anything technology since I was a young boy.
Yeah.
And when we were in exile in the United States, I would drive by a nuclear power plant on the way to San Diego. And no two thoughts about it. It provided clean and abundant and cheap electricity.
But every time nuclear power is mentioned, they remember Japan. Look what happened to Fukushima.
Fukushima actually is now my basis for explaining why BNPP is very safe.
Why?
Because Fukushima was built with a design factor, seismic design factor of 0.18 G.
Okay.
It survived a 9 earthquake without, what damaged it was the tsunami, not the earthquake.
Okay.
BNPP is designed with a 0.4 G, more than double the design basis.
Which would mean?
Which would mean that if a 9 earthquake were to hit Morong, I can definitively say that nothing will happen to our BNPP. I didn't have a basis to say that before. The tsunami that hit Fukushima, Fukushima is at 6 meters above sea level. BNPP is 19 meters above sea level. Its generators are not in the basement. And so I can definitively say that if a tsunami the same size that hit Fukushima hits Morong, nothing will happen to our BNPP.
Really? Okay. Now, I know that the Filipino people, we have been paying, I mean, the BNPP is a white elephant, and we've been paying it for so many years, but already it is fully paid.
Since August of 2007.
Okay,
and that's what triggered me to look into it.
Okay.
Because I was defending the budget of the DOF then.
Yes, yes.
And that's when I learned that paid up.
So how much would we need to spend if we were going to use the Bataan nuclear power plant?
About $1 billion.
Okay, can we afford that?
Definitely.
Should
the collection alone from FIT-all that we are paying now, 10 centavos per kilowatt hour.
This is for renewables.
For renewable energy, which is nowhere near comparable. Raises about 10 to 12 billion pesos a year.
Okay.
Now, that amount would pay for the whole thing in less than 5 years.
Yeah.
And the BNPP will produce power at 3 US cents per kilowatt hour. That's less than 1 peso and 50 centavos.
So where does the 10 to 12 billion pesos coming from FIT-all go today?
No, I'm just saying that if we can afford FIT-all, there's no reason we cannot afford to fix BNP.
Okay, all right. So we have graphics here that I want our audience to understand. I want you to explain this. Our first graphics, can you put this? This is the science tip, you brought it.
Yes.
Explain that on the log scales. All right, fuel energy density.
I don't see it.
Okay, I know.
Anyway.
All right, is it ready?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, there. What is this?
This shows the energy density of various fuels, from
Okay.
sugar, coal,
We're using a lot of coal,
yes,
fat.
fat, gasoline, and uranium. You
Okay.
can see that uranium has millions of times more energy than coal, gas, or gasoline
Yeah.
or diesel.
Yeah.
And that is the whole magic of nuclear power,
Yeah.
that you need such a tiny amount of fuel to generate such a large amount of energy.
Would nuclear power be more dangerous, let's say, than a coal plant?
No, and actually, we could go to our second chart.
Okay.
For that. Yeah.
The second chart. Would
The
it be
second
cleaner?
chart-
Would it be cleaner than a coal plant?
Cleaner.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes,
that's-
yes.
that's
But let's start with this. Our second chart.
the
Okay.
second chart is safer.
Energy safety.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're saying nuclear power
It's
would
the
be safer
safest.
than coal?
The safest energy ever developed by humankind, according to the 50-year history of nuclear power, including Chernobyl, 3 Mile Island, and Fukushima.
But
This is it.
how could one make that argument after the disasters, calamities
Okay.
coming from
In Fukushima,
Yeah, you've explained
not
it.
a single person died
Okay.
or was injured because of radiation.
All right.
In 3 Mile Island, not a single person died or was injured because of radiation. In Fukushima, less than 100 died. But I would take exception to Fukushima because Fukushima is a converted weapons plant, which is not done in the West.
I see.
And it has no doctrine of containment in its design or implementation.
So in other words,
which is standard in the Western nuclear power plants.
what you're saying is one cannot use Fukushima as an
No,
example.
one cannot use Chernobyl
Okay.
as an example, but certainly you can use 3 Mile Island and Fukushima.
Oh, but then Fukushima, you said, was converted, so it wasn't
No,
built.
Chernobyl.
Okay, all right, Chernobyl.
Yeah.
So let's study first the energy safety. You said here nuclear
Is the safest.
Is the safest. It's even safer than natural gas?
Yes.
How could that be?
Because there are explosions in natural gas plants, there are asphyxiations, there is pollution.
But even in solar, I mean, one would think what can
People
happen?
fall off the roof maintaining their solar panels. It has to be cleaned regularly.
But how can these numbers show that that's more dangerous than a nuclear plant?
This is deaths per terawatt hour.
This one.
These numbers. Now, these numbers are from the WHO.
Yeah.
So these are quite credible numbers.
So you're talking about 36,000 deaths.
That's why I can say now
For oil?
No, for coal. It's
For coal, okay,
170,000 deaths.
When you say per terawatt hour, what is that?
Terawatt hour is, well, you have kilowatt hour,
Yeah.
you have megawatt hour,
Okay.
and you have how many
Okay.
zeros pa more.
So
is-
coal has the most deaths.
Yes. Now,
Okay.
from that chart, I can say that nuclear has already saved over 1 million lives worldwide.
How many countries in the world are...
Because if we build a
Okay.
nuclear plant instead of a coal plant or an oil plant or
Yeah.
a gas plant, then we are saving lives every year.
Okay. How many countries in the world today are using nuclear?
I think it's over 30 countries. There are over 440 nuclear power plants in operation in the world today, and there are more than 60 under construction and more than 100 planned.
Is it fair to say that the most powerful countries in the world are on nuclear?
Yes, that is fair.
Yeah.
Russia, the United States, France, England are powerful countries.
Yeah. So if that's the case, then I'm curious. Clearly, the fact that they're on nuclear as base load would mean that they know it's beneficial to the country. I mean, because
Definitely.
given if you're a superpower, you can be choosing to choose base load any other form, but they're choosing nuclear.
Yes. Unfortunately, some of the more democratic countries, the anti-nuclear movement gained ground in the 60s and 70s as a knee-jerk reaction to the establishment.
Yeah.
But there are some democratic countries like France that decided to stick to nuclear and have a lot to show for it. The cheapest power rates in Europe today is in France. The cleanest country in terms of CO2 emissions and pollution is France.
Really?
Yes. So countries that have adopted it has a lot of economic benefit and environmental benefit to show for it.
Okay, your last graphic is about the lifetime emissions actually. There's a comparable study.
Yeah.
This is this from the World Health Organization also?
No, this is from the IPCC,
Okay.
which is the United Nations organization.
All right.
And nuclear is second, tied with wind, offshore wind. And number one is wind onshore, which is but very, very slightly different. No?
Yeah.
And this is misleading because if you look at RE, solar and wind, they really require gas as backup. Now, these numbers do not reflect that, that
But
they're tied together.
But it comes out here that coal, even biomass, really have strong lifetime emissions.
Definitely.
Even what if the
example,
coal is clean? I mean, they say if it's domed, like in Davao.
Clean coal is an oxymoron.
Okay.
When you say clean coal, you have equipment in your coal power plant that sprays calcium carbonate limestone solution powder into the smokestack to remove sulfur emissions.
Okay.
Sulfur is a tiny component of coal emissions. And so it's a marketing gimmick. There's no such thing as clean coal. If you're talking about CO2, if you're talking about coal ash, heavy metals, mercury, lead, cadmium, uranium, thorium, and radium in the coal ash, which makes coal radioactive, 100 times more radioactive than a nuclear power plant. And that was said by Professor Steve Chu, Secretary Steve Chu, the first energy secretary of Obama.
Okay, now you have Secretary Alfonso Cusi, who is going to the Bataan nuclear power plant. Why didn't you give him a tour? I mean, I was thinking you'd be the perfect person.
He has a lot of foreign visitors.
Okay.
So there's no time because my tours, which I do once a month, I did once a month before the campaign period on my own coin.
Yeah.
I would charter a bus
Yes,
and
I
bring
heard.
students,
Yes,
teachers,
yes.
engineering associations to tour the plant. It takes a few hours.
Yeah.
I can't rush it. Otherwise, it's useless for me.
Okay, so do you feel optimistic that there's hope for this with the Secretary of Energy himself going there to check it out?
Not optimistic. I feel hopeful.
Okay.
Because at the end of the day, it's going to be the people who need to show the government that they want this, that they're tired of high prices, that they're tired of pollution, and they're tired of wasting katas OFW, buying fuel and then just burning it from abroad.
Yeah.
To say that, hey, we want a change, we want cheap power, because cheap power is our road to prosperity.
So let's say they want to revive the Bataan nuclear power plant, hypothetically, if President Duterte agrees. Will it be against the law, the Clean Air Act?
No, definitely not.
It's not.
In fact, the Constitution says that we should use nuclear technology for peaceful uses to benefit society.
So it is not against the Philippine Constitution.
Definitely not.
How quick will President Duterte be able to use it?
4 to 5 years,
Really? Let's say.
assuming it becomes national government policy.
Yeah.
We have to figure out the regulation.
Yeah.
In other countries, you put up the regulator first, then they give you the approvals to build the nuclear power plant. Here we have a nuclear power plant, and our
There's no regulator.
was disbanded.
Of course.
The PAEC. We need something to say that the findings of PAEC, once validated by a new group, will be considered valid. So that we can fast track this.
Okay. So if it is, you put up a regulator, and let's say President Duterte says, okay, I am convinced, he makes the argument, we revive the Bataan nuclear power plant. This is not something we
4
will
years
see.
po to 5.
We will not see it in his term.
We will.
feel-
We can if it starts right away. Actually, the last administration could have had it running before the end of their term if they had started right away. But Fukushima intervened.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's misfortunate that we suffer
Okay.
the consequences of somebody else's accident.
Now, have you been invited to attend the Senate Committee on,
No,
on Energy?
I was invited to attend the conference of the IAEA now. I was a spectator, and a very good one. Very good. I learned a lot.
No, but then clearly this will have to go through the Senate.
I was called by some staff members at the Senate asking if I'm willing to present. I said, yes, I am.
Yes.
But they have not scheduled it yet.
All right. Last words, Mark. Clearly, we'll be seeing you again, huh?
Yeah.
Because if the Duterte administration pushes through with it really depends on how serious they are. Then you'll be speaking more clearly and making the argument.
Karen, all I can say to our audience is that nuclear is the cleanest energy. A nuclear plant anywhere is less carbon dioxide and pollution everywhere. It is the cheapest in the Philippine context form of energy. The United States cost per kilowatt hour is 3 US cents. That's less than 1 peso and 50 centavos per kilo wholesale. And it is the safest power generating technology ever devised by humankind. We owe it to ourselves for our prosperity to have cheap, clean, and abundant power.
All right, Mark Cojuangco, thank you for coming to Head Start. I learned something new today.
Thank you.
I'm Karen Davila. Thank you for watching. Replay of this interview is 3:30 p.m. this afternoon. We're also posting it on iwanttv.com.ph. Stories on ANC Alerts and ABS-CBN Online. Stay with ANC Market Edge is up next.